So far this semester in World Mythologies literature, we've talked about creators and we have talked about heroes. We have not yet talked about tricksters. So it's truly my pleasure to introduce you to two of the greatest tricksters in world mythology through our readings for this module, Prometheus and Loki. Like most mythological tricksters, Prometheus and Loki are complex. They possess characteristics that are neither purely positive nor negative. They are described with terms such as clever and crafty, which communicate both intelligence and mischievousness. They tend to disobey rules and defy conventions, which can be either desirable or undesirable, depending on the societal context. On the positive side, their inventiveness and creativity enable them to sometimes serve as helpers to either humans or gods. And of course, they are often funny. On the negative side, their tricks often have consequences, often for themselves. That is, they can wind up being the butts of their own jokes. At times, they can be downright amoral. That is, they could not care less about the rightness or the wrongness of their tricks. Another similarity that Prometheus and Loki share is that neither entirely fits in the pantheons of their respective mythologies. In Greek mythology, Prometheus is a titan, not a god. Notice how he is often referred to as the son of Iapetos, a repeated reminder that his father was a titan. Of course, the supreme being among the Olympians, Zeus, had two titans for parents. The relationship between Zeus and Prometheus is clear. They are cousins. Yet Prometheus is never welcomed into the exclusive group of Greek gods known as the 12 Olympians. In Norse mythology, Loki is a giant, not a god. Notice how he is often referred to as the son of Laufey, a repeated reminder that his mother was a giant. Of course, the supreme being among the Aesir, Odin, also had a giant for a mother. The relationship between Odin and Loki is unclear. Sometimes they are described as blood brothers or as foster brothers. Despite what the Marvel movies may have led you to believe, Odin does not raise Loki as his son, so Loki and Thor are not thought of as brothers in the myths. And eventually, Loki is no longer welcome among the Norse gods known as the Aesir. Both Prometheus and Loki, in fact, are eventually tormented by their respective pantheons as a consequence for one of their tricks. In this module, we will read about the trick that Prometheus is punished for in two versions of that myth. The ancient text, Clever Prometheus was bound by Zeus in cruel chains, which is an excerpt from Theogony by Hesiod, and the more modern Prometheus, which is a poem by George Gordon, Lord Byron. You have already read about the trick that Loki is punished for back in Module 2 in two versions of the myth about the death of Balder. In this module, we will instead read three versions of a myth in which Loki is instead a helper to the gods. The ancient text Thrym's poem, which is an excerpt from the poetic Edda, the theft of Thor's hammer, which is the version in Donna Rosenberg's World Mythology, and the more modern Freya's Unusual Wedding, which is an excerpt from Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. As a bonus, I've also included a page from the graphic novel version of Gaiman's Norse mythology, which nicely captures the comic dynamic between Loki and Thor. I hope you enjoyed these encounters with two of the greatest tricksters in world mythology, Prometheus and Loki. After all, this time, the joke won't be on you.